Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Totally Schway Flipside, a podcast all about your comments on another podcast Mary and I do. You may have noticed that things are different this episode. That's because the flu has visited our household. You can probably still hear it a bit in my voice. Mary is currently much worse for wears than I am, so I'm doing the podcast by myself. We could have skipped a week, but yeah, we decided not to. Mary said, you go ahead and do it on your own, which is great. Do I have any news? No, other than the flu news. So that's a very exciting update for you there. Do you know what? This is a lot harder to do when you're on your own without someone to bounce off of. I've got Gilgamesh the cat here, but frankly, he's completely useless. What are you doing, Gilgamesh? He's just sitting there, staring at the wall. Exciting stuff. Perfect for a podcast. So why don't I just skip ahead to the bit that you're all here for, really, and that is to hear your comments from the episode of Totally Schway, the podcast about the DC animated universe. The last episode was our Halloween special about the Superman the Animated Series episode Hand of Fate. I'm going to do things slightly differently here because I'm in charge this week. I'm going to start with the newest comments and then just work my way down. So up first we have Screen Wiper with his chicken news and says, Saturday, 1st of November. Egg layers Doris and Mabel are taking more days off work now. This is a normal reaction to the coming of winter. They both laid eggs on Sunday, then both had day off Monday, then on Tuesday Doris laid a tiny egg. What us often know as a fairy egg. I sent Mary a photo of it. Well, she didn't share it with me, so I can't visualise it. He said a fairy egg, I just see like an egg with little wings on it, which I'm certain is not the case. The hens usually lay eggs of what supermarkets label as medium to large size, but this was about the size of a large cherry or grape, or a small apricot. She hasn't laid since, neither did Mabel until yesterday, when she did me a nice big egg as a Halloween gift for me. I did get a bit worried that Doris was becoming egg-bound as her tail was a bit low and droopy, but that's stopped now. Betty did scare the shite out of me on Tuesday with similar symptoms. She also went into the coop as she was going to lay an egg, but then just stood in the doorway. Then she came out, went onto the old coop and hunched, something hens do when they're in pain or feeling ill. Her comb also went a tiny bit yellow, symptomatic of anemia. Uh-oh. But that's all stopped now. She's normal colour, alert and active again. If she knows I'm watching, she will often eat some mush or pellets and make a bit of a show about it. She and Wilma both know me well, and that I worry about the slightest illness symptoms, and that showing me that they have appetite and are getting nourished is a good way to ease my anxiety. They are so clever and caring. Maybe Betty's hormones are wearing off, but if so, it's early stages. Doris might be adjusting to her own ovaries shutting down for winter. The whole pack are definitely disliking the rain and adjusting to the cold, and all these mild symptoms can be explained as nothing more than that. They're all always under regular observation, so if anyone does sicken, I will notice and treat accordingly. I think it was Friday last week, Mabel went in the sandbox for a bath. This made Wilma want to use it. Long-time listeners may remember that old Wilma would pluck feathers out of her and force her to vacate, but modern Wilma is apparently better than that. She simply stood next to the sandbox and waited her turn like a good girl. On top of that, Betty and Doris stood behind Wilma and waited for theirs. The hens culture has progressed to point of having the concept of queuing. They're more civilized than some humans, I agree. They always find new ways to impress me with their intelligence. Yes, it's funny. I've noticed similar behaviour in my cats. One of our cats, Apollo, likes to drink from the sink tap in the bathroom, and he will go and sit by it and cry until we go and turn the tap on. Well, I've noticed our other cat, Thor, now sits on the toilet, which is next to the sink, and waits his turn to drink from there as well, which is funny. But yes, thank you for your update, Screen Wiper. I'm sure there'll be another one next time, hearing about the progress of the birds as winter approaches. Hopefully everything is good, though. Next we have everyone's favourite character from the podcast, one and only Cucumber, who says, "You're too late, I'm now forklift certified. Anyways, I'm happy I don't have TikTok." Yeah. Yeah, I wish I didn't have to interact with TikTok much, and I should probably clarify based on what I said in the last episode. I don't mind if someone is like sharing my content and like linking to it and actually adding their own commentary, their own their own thing to it, but just wholesale copying one of my videos, breaking it up into 3 parts because they can only upload 3-minute videos on TikTok, and passing it off as their own is scummy. And I am going for them. I'm gunning for them big time. They do not know what they're doing by stealing from me, because I can be very petty and very focused, and I'm not going to let go until this is entirely resolved. And I seem to actually be impacting their views as well, because I've noticed that when they first started doing this, they were getting hundreds of thousands of views for each of the videos they uploaded. Now they're only getting singular thousands. Probably because I write in the comments that this is stolen content and link to my channel. And I guess TikTok algorithm perhaps is intelligent enough to know not to promote that to other people. But anyway, we'll see. Could just all be complete coincidence. It is funny, though, that TikTok's algorithm knows to direct me to new thieves or new accounts made by the thieves. It's very funny. I just open up the app and then, oh, look, there's one of my videos uploaded by a new account. All right, time for another DMCA takedown request. They're piling up. They've had dozens of them now. So hopefully those will be resolved soon enough. Anyway, enough about that platform that I don't really care for all that much, because I'm an old man. Next, we have Ryan Jones, who says, hello, Luke, Slade Wilson, and Mary Puppies. Mary Puppies, that's a new one. Slade Wilson. Oh, yeah, Deathstroke, isn't it? Yeah, I don't mind that. Now for the Hand of Fate episode of Superman the Animated Series. Is one of my least favourite episodes of Superman the Animated Series. My Justice League, Dark Team are Zatanna, Dr. Fate, Swamp Thing, and Etrigan. Very similar to mine. On your socks question, I wear some Disney socks, some Mario ones, some Marvel ones, and others. I don't like coffee. Neither do I, actually. Mary, you are so much cooler than Billie Eilish. I'm glad she's not here to hear that. 1, you make me feel seen, and 2, I don't care for Billie Eilish. Luke, I'm sorry that someone stole your videos. I don't have TikTok, but I will tell you, if someone stole your videos and posted them on YouTube, well, thank you. Yes, YouTube has fortunately got very robust copyright tools, so if someone does take one of my videos and uploads it without editing it in the slightest, I get a notification, and I can tell them to take it down. If they ignore it, then it automatically gets taken down. So that's very good. Let me just find my place in the comment again. I loved my day at London Comic Con this week. I bought an original GameCube controller, and I used all my other money on Jennifer Hale for an autograph photo and video I had with her. And you can see the photo I had with her and what I got her to sign on my YouTube channel posts. And I sent the video I had with her on my channel. Yes, I watched that. That was very nice. I thought it was funny. She got confused about who she was talking as at one point in her video. But yeah, it was very nice to meet her. She seemed very friendly, which is always good to see. But yes, thank you for your comment, Ryan. So next we have Evangelos Foskolos, who says, I really wish there was an episode where Superman meets Dr. Fate. It always felt weird that they already seemed to know each other. Yes, yeah, I would have preferred to have seen it on screen rather than, I think it was in the Superman Adventures annual, or it might have been the Adventures in the DC Universe annual. At the time, they had 3 like DC animated universe comic books: Batman Adventures, Superman Adventures, and Adventures in the DC Universe. And I suppose actually at the time it was Batman and Robin Adventures. But anyway, I'm gibbering now, so I need to move on to the next comment, really. The point was that I think they addressed it in the comics. Right, next we have Julia Raoul, who says, Happy Halloween, Luke Wilson and Scary Mary Jo Star. I'm going to tell her you called her that. I don't even know what the reference is, I'm sorry. I like Superman team-ups, and I really liked this episode. As a kid in 96, this was my first intro to Dr. Fate and his wife, Inez Nelson. I was aware of the characters in the comics by the way of the 0 Hour series called Fate, and Books of Fate by Keith Giffen and Ron Wagner in, I believe, around 95 or 96. The successor to Dr. Fate in those comics was a treasure hunter named Jared Stevens, who I feel a bit was inspired by Bruce Campbell, a little bit. Anyways, when Kent Nelson and his wife died, Stevens, holding the cloak and helmet of fate, scarred his arm and ends up getting magic powers and becomes a servant of the Lords of Order and Chaos. The Keith Giffen comics are hilarious. Lol, by Keith Giffen writing. If you haven't read it, Luke Wilson, you should check it out. Yeah, I never read the Dr. Fate comics in the 90s around 0 hour time. Maybe I should. It's a 90s comic from DC I do like because it's weird and quirky. But yeah, I like the later on Dr. Fate team-ups with Aquaman, Solomon Grundy, Hawkgirl, and Mazo as an homage to the Defenders over at Marvel, Doctor Strange, Hulk, Valkyrie, Silver Surfer, and Namor. Forgive me, but as a Marvel fan, I like stuff like this. I'm glad the DCAU had a dash of Marvel in it. No, yeah. Some of those later shows, there was definitely more than a dash, let's put it that way. Anyways, I've been playing a lot of Marvel Rivals lately as Colossus' sister Magic, and it got me thinking about rereading some 80s New Mutant comics by Louise Simonson and Brett Blevins and all the stuff with the Demon Bear saga, Fall of the Mutants, Inferno, and the Soul Sword saga. It's like, I'm cool with Magic with an enchanted blade, but not shiny new aggro absolute Wonder Woman. Anyways, in my current playthrough of Marvel Rivals and even the new Marvel Zombies mode, got me thinking, why doesn't DC have a game like Marvel Rivals? And if they would, it would be. And if they did, would it be successful? What's your answer, Luke? Well, I don't think they should just be copying other titles wholesale. I think they should just stick to what they do best. I don't know that they have studios that are good at hero shooters. I remember they did Gotham City Imposters a while back, and that was fun enough, but not exactly the same thing as Marvel Rivals, was it? Anyway. Continuing the comment, Julia says, I guess I have pissed off all the Batman fans in your community page with me wanting to talk about stuff that I like that has nothing to do with Batman. Like, I have another question. Are Batman fans racist and homophobic and transphobic? What makes you think they would be? Of course they're not. Do you know what? I bet there are some racist, transphobic and homophobic people that think that they like Batman. But that pretty much goes against almost everything Batman stands for. These are kind of people with a staggering lack of, one, media literacy, and two, self-awareness. I mean, the fact that they are transphobic, racist, or homophobic in the first place indicates that, their brain isn't exactly quite right. But I wouldn't put a lot of stock in what those kind of people think, frankly. The reason why I ask is because I recently posted a picture of Spider-Man and Johnny Storm kissing each other, and a lot of your people got mad and said some very hateful things. I blocked them all, but still, I just want to know, are Batman fans terrible people? Well, I'm a Batman fan, and I don't think I'm terrible, but hey, your opinion may vary. I guess it depends on who you ask, right? And regarding that post in particular, there were a lot of people in there that just didn't agree. I think I did see there was the odd hateful person and they got kicked out straight away, frankly. Zero tolerance for bigotry in any form, which we'll get to in a minute. But just because people aren't necessarily interested in seeing the same thing happen, like Spider-Man and the Human Torch have a relationship, doesn't necessarily mean they're homophobic. May just be that it's not something that interests them. Like, personally, I'm not particularly interested in seeing Spider-Man having a same-sex relationship. But if it did happen, it wouldn't bother me in the slightest. It's just not something that I would go out seeking. Do you know what I mean? Maybe that makes me a terrible person. I don't know. Answers on a postcard, please. Anyway, to continue Julia's comment, and lastly, I don't like the concept of a Justice League Dark. That's one of the many things I didn't like from the New 52, and I didn't like that Wonder Woman got roped into it. What, having a Justice League team that focuses specifically on magical threats? I thought that was kind of cool. Maybe you just didn't like the name. Perhaps if it was Justice League Mages or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, I wonder if Warner Brothers is going out of business, and if so, how is it going to affect DC in the Absolute Universe? Like, if it's so successful, why hasn't it saved the company yet? Well, Warner Brothers as a whole has billions of dollars of debt. And what David Zaslav is doing is he's splitting the pictures and the streaming and the comic book company off into its own thing. And everything else is being lumped under the Discovery brand, which is actually where he came from. And you have to assume, at least this is the assumption I'm making, that he's done that to protect the valuable IP they have, like all of the Warner Brothers IP, basically. And also then to shunt off the debt onto Discovery. So, if Discovery were to go under, what's the loss, right? I mean, okay, you might lose. I mean, to be honest, I don't really know. I don't really know what you would lose from it. But I think that's the action he's taking. And you might have just heard Mary coughing then, so you can tell she's around. And I was going to say the Absolute line has been a big success in terms of publishing, like DC Comics' revenue. It's sold over that Absolute Batman #1 sold over 1 million copies now through like 9 prints. However, even if they made 100% profit on all of those, so what is that, $5? So that would be like $5 million. $5 million is a drop in the ocean compared to Warner Brothers' debt. So I hope that answers your question. And to finish off the comment, thanks for reading my spooky question and reading my letter upon a Dead Sea Scroll from the pages of the Darkhold. Until next time, Luke Wilson and Scary Mary Jo Star, true believers. Twinkly star emoji. But yeah, thank you for your comment, Julia. Right, next we have David Carney, who says, "Hi Mary and Luke, I remember finding a comic book under the bed once. Oh, what was it? Or can you not say? Still have no idea how it got there. Remember reading a Dr. Fate comic from about 2015 and never finished collecting the run. Have a good week, all." Yeah, I must admit, I haven't read an awful lot of Dr. Fate comics. I've got this vague recollection of Matt Wagner doing a Dr. Fate book, but I might be mixing it up with Etrigan. This would have been in the 90s. I know I've got the Matt Wagner Etrigan book, but I don't think I read it. It's one of those things where you see it at a comic shop and they're like, oh yeah, here's all issues in this run for a $5. And you're like, oh yeah, all right, fine, I'll pick that up. And then it gets put in your to-read pile and then just kind of floats to the bottom, and then you end up having to tidy stuff away because your wife says you got too much stuff cluttering the place up. So yeah, let's blame Mary for the fact that I'm very bad at organising my time, it seems. But yes, thank you for your comment, David. Oh, Screamwiper's left another comment. Should I read it? I mean, it is only short. I mean, we do technically have a rule of 1 comment per person, but there weren't a huge number of comments this week, so all right, fine. Screenwiper said, "The term you're looking for at 2:07 is toiling." I'll remember that. 47 minutes and 33 seconds. The thing is, these people often don't have an opinion on these things. They just know other people do. So they clip someone expressing their opinion and then wait for the comments and the likes from other people with opinions agreeing and disagreeing. Technically, they may not be talentless because they have a talent for grifting, but they also have no creative or artistic talent. Everything is just a resource or a market to exploit them. Well, in this specific case, they are literally just taking my whole video, breaking it up into 3 chunks and uploading it in the hopes that they will get hundreds of thousands of views. And they were at a time, until I was made aware of it. And I seem to have put a stop to that because their latest attempt at doing it capped out at about 200 views, which is good. Hopefully they'll get the hint to stop stealing my stuff. And like I was saying earlier, I wouldn't really mind all that much if someone took some of my content and then they uploaded it and said, well, this is what this guy says, but I don't necessarily think that's right. Or maybe they'll say, oh yeah, I completely agree with him. What do you think? Even like that absolute minimal effort would like take the sting off of just someone just ripping a whole video, uploading it on a separate platform and just raking in all of the views. Like one dude got 10,000 subscribers just from uploading one of my videos. 10,000 subscribers just from one of those. None of my videos have got that many subscribers. It's absolutely crazy. So you can see why I'm very agitated about it. And maybe I should stop talking about it because I bet you're all fed up of hearing me complain about it. But anyway, thank you for your comment, Screenwiper. Next I have Lowell Lucas Jr., who's written a little song here. Unfortunately, I'm in no state to be singing, so I'll just I'll have to do it Bill Shatner style of basically just saying the words. Trick or treat, smell my pits, feed me chocolate, give me zits, wreck my teeth, make me sick, make me hurl a Halloween brick. Comb the country, scour the town, find all candy, wolf it down. Every morsel, every crumb, eat it till your mouth is numb. Trick or treat, smell my butt, ew. Okay. Shovel sugar into my gut. Give me the candy, mother load. Feed me junk till I explode. Hello all you boys and ghouls. Crypt Keeper here in Vault of Comics goodies and some other treats that go bump in the night. I thank you and look forward to this awesome Halloween episode of the Schway podcast from Beyond the Graveyard. Please forgive the editing as my eyes have been having some issues. I've had to retype quite a bit, so please forgive the grammatical errors. I always do, and it applies to everyone. A friend of mine, afraid my retina got torn recently, so I've been making sure to keep track of my vision even further. I enjoyed Hand of Fate, though I'm noticing some fans hate it even in the comment section. I rather enjoy seeing monstrous apparitions that even Superman can't handle. Plus I like Carkle's monsters. Unusual design, and even McFarlane could have done an awesome creepy figure of. Yeah, he could have. You missed out, Todd Father. You really don't get episodes like this too often, but Batman had his pod people with Ivy duplicates and Justice League had its episode Unity. They definitely stand out. So creepy episodes go hand in hand with DC whenever applicable. Maybe people would have preferred Etrigan, as he's a little less mopey than Fate, but would totally beat up Clark's friends. To answer your questions, Mary, as for the Justice League Dark Team, we've got to have Dr. Zatanna. Oh, the magical medicine woman, I get it. House, the literal Constantine House. Dr. Langstrom, the man-bat detective of science and keeping secrets from his wife. Poison Ivy, the believer of the green. And lastly, Tigress, the kitty man with the heart of a hero and the voice of Jim Cummings. It'd be a relatable team of magical misfits that would take down the underbelly of the algorithm beasts of uncreativity. Ha ha ha. Yes. Strike them down at once, Tigress. Oh, if I get a new cat in the future, I will call him Tigress, and I will tell him to strike them down, Tigress. And he will do it. I'm sure he will. Because that always works out well in the past, right? Training your cats to do things. They're famous for their ability to follow orders. Also, Mary. Socks. White and black Heart Wednesday colours. Coffee, I'm not a coffee man, more tea, OJ, or hot chocolate kind of fellow. Rogues Gallery book, did you include me with my rock? I didn't even talk about Killer Croc in this one. There's a little bit of hot information for you. I don't think I did anyway. No, Killer Croc, no. That's the next one. Sunscreen, nope. Just cocoa butter lotion. Fate's helmet, get that thing away from me. Fate had dealt me an awful hand on many a date, event, and getting sick. I don't want to deal with cosmic responsibility when I just want to pay my rent on time. I've seen what happened to Peter Parker. Also, I'm sorry about the TikTok shenanigans. There's many people who steal to get a quick buck, then put in the hard work and effort you both do. Nobody gives us the Midwestern mom energy like you, Mary. Oh, God. Nor have the charm of discussing comics animation like you, Luke. These are clearly people that aren't one of your people. No, they're not. They're one of the people I will throw into jail. Pass go. Do not collect $200. And they will stay there until the end of time. Okay, that's a bit over the top. Okay, folks, time to wrap things up for this latest tome. Till then, everyone, may your Halloween be fun, creepy, and remarkable. I don't say blah, blah, blah often, but I plan on trick-or-treating with family friends, then marathon some Halloween classics. If you all like Elvira episodes, Vampire Hunter D, The Real Ghostbusters, Little Shop of Horrors, and Ichabod and Mr. Toad, then you're always one of my Halloween people. Peace out. Thanks, Lowell Lucas Jr., for your entertaining comment. Next we have Doc Widener, who says, thank goodness you're here. Every now and then I put something weird like my phone and can't figure out why I did it. At least with the phone I can call it. Sergey's Apple TV remote and our Fire TV remotes are minimalist design and almost too small for me because they easily get misplaced. Yeah, Mary's always losing our Apple TV remote, but it always ends up being like a few inches from where her hand was. So I've started saying to her, where were your hands when you lost it? She's like, here, and then I'll find it almost immediately. But anyway, as for Dr. Fate, there are times in the DCU where it really feels like the writers assume that you read the comics, especially the post-crisis Justice League books, though they definitely went to the vault for Carkle. I think those JSA stories were after this episode. Yeah, they definitely were. They were like late 90s. Clarion the Witch Boy. Mary, if Luke starts praising, I've got Batman in my basement, you need to see if you can find the pod and then run. Yes, very true. I thought Clarion was a irritating little what's it in the new Batman adventures, but I don't mind the character as a whole. So to answer Mary's questions then, black socks today, more often white, occasionally a pair of tan toe socks, which Sergey think look creepy. Yeah, toe socks, like when you say toe socks, do you mean the ones that like individually like show individual toes, almost like a glove but for feet? Those are gross. And I don't know why they are, but they really are. Dark Team members. Luke picked a lot of the good ones. Let's throw in Spectre, Raven on loan from the Teen Titans, John Constantine, and to also pull from the post-crisis and specifically Death of Superman era, Bloodwin. Yeah, that's a good shout. You got married at 13, Mary. Luke, you trying to join the royal family? Badum. No, unfortunately, I'm not a part of the royal family, or should I say, fortunately, I'm not. The only reason why I would say it's unfortunate is because they all get a load of money just for existing, whereas, the rest of us have to toil away all hours of the day. Anyway, to continue Doc's comment, he says, sorry about the TikTok thievery. Bice flex about Warner Brothers, worried about their potential merger. Well, Zaslav doesn't seem to be too keen on the idea of merging with Paramount. So it may not happen. But then again, I did see something saying that Trump was interested in the Paramount merger with Warner Brothers taking place. So he might just bully it into happening. Well, we'll see what happens there, won't we? But to continue Doc's comment, he says, I don't drink coffee, never have. My caffeine comes from Big K Citrus Drop Kroger brand Mountain Dew, which probably means I don't get enough water. I use sunscreen during summer swim officiating, but not much else otherwise. Well past the second test. Grit still left behind the pipes and such, most notably in the dishwasher. So that's Doc's update on their well, wasn't it? Did 2 haunted hikes last weekend. Great weather. We'll toss up a picture or two. I don't think I have. Still don't feel up to sharing why with the class why Sergey and Brandon didn't come along. May just tell Mary, who will tell you, but maybe later. Very busy week with Halloween, and then our team's annual swim invitational with about 500 kids across 4 sessions and 2 days coming from central, southern, eastern and southeastern Ohio and parts of West Virginia. I am in charge of all the officials and officiating, so I need to be working on figuring out deck assignments. A lot of teams are bringing officials, which is nice and something I have been working on the last few years, mostly by leading an example and working with invitational and dual meets. So I will definitely be late to the comment show next week. Gasp! It's all right. It's fine. We'll manage. And as long as you get in before the deadline, I probably wouldn't even know. I also need to get a couple of pumpkin pies made for Saturday night for a 4-H thing. At least pumpkin is easy. 2 crusts for 2 pies instead of apple, which takes 4 for 2, and all the apple prep work. Blueberry pancakes are almost done. Thank you for your comment, Doc, and you shared a picture of your pancakes in the channel's community section, didn't you? And I saw that people liked it, so that's good. Next we have RJ Productions, who says, hey, how's everyone doing? I hope you're doing well. I have an announcement to make. For the next couple of weeks in the Totally Schway comments, I will be writing out a Mercy Graves Lex Luthor fan fiction. Why? Because why the hell not? Yeah, you didn't run that by me, but I guess I'll read it. Okay, well, we'll see how it goes. If it gets too much, I will stop. So apologies in advance. Each week I'll post a new chapter, but for this week I'll be sharing the plot synopsis. When Lex Luthor gets into a car accident during a trip with Mercy to a meeting at LexCorp, he's forced to confront his humanity and mortality. When Mercy sees this, she sees Lex in a whole new light, and the two have to confront their feelings for one another with laughs, tears, and compassion. Prepare for fan flirtation that will make you cry, make you laugh, and even make you cringe. Oh, good. This is the DCAU Lex Luthor like you've never seen before. My Justice League Dark team would be Metallo Joker, Pierce Chapman as the OC, the manager, or is that Mangler? Clayface Weather Wizard. God, I'm having a hard time saying Weather Wizard. Mad Hatter and Parasite. Also, I'm really sorry about your content being stolen. Those lazy, low-life leeches don't deserve to lick the dirt from my boot. That was Harry saying that, not me, by the way. Although it's a sentiment I entirely agree with. Absolute lice. Anyway. Thank you for your comment, Harry. And let's see how your fan fiction goes. It's not really my cup of tea, to be honest, but if people like it, fair enough. More power to you. And then the last comment we have is from Michael Andre Parlon, who says, the schedule has finally reached the 1 hour more please phase of the year, hasn't it? It has, but unfortunately no one's told my cats, so they're still waking us at exactly the same time that they would have before. So really we get an hour less. Anyway, don't forget that Juan Sanchez Lobo Ramirez has a Japanese katana too, Luke, and also that time where Clancy Brown, who plays the Kurgan, nearly decapitated Sean Connery, maybe in one scene. 729 questions. Sometimes last year, not sure which month or day anymore. I think it handles decently, but I ain't one of my favourite episodes in the entirety of the DCAU. Discount Cthulhu makes me shrug. Not an aficionado for anything DC Comics magical like Dr. Fate plus Constantine, Raven and so on, and having to read up on tie-in comic side material was a surprising if rewarding chore, explains Luke's nitpick at 12:19 really. So yes, I'm with the Mears couple on not relating with this episode. Would rather prefer Captain Marvel or Shazam versus Superman from works like Kingdom Come and JLU's Clash. For something about Billy Batson feels more at home for me compared to Dr. Fate and Inza. Dr. Fate sure ain't no Gandalf Dumbledore, a bunch of Diana Wynne Jones folks, or some magical girls. The Helmet of Naboo is cool though, love how they interpreted it into Young Justice before the show lost its way via plot direction changes and numerous cliffhangers. Don't care about Daily Planet people turn magical spectres and Discount Cthulhu hurting Superman. I instead want to see thaumaturgical, I think I got that right, thaumaturgical lasses with chain naginatas, ribbon muskets, and time stop time loop. Shield gauntlets making Superman bleed. Either way, Superman being weak to magical attacks just as he is to kryptonite is DC Comics gospel to me. Mary suggesting Sadako Samara versus Superman. Okay, I can see some potential in that. Compared to her off-putting Rambo Obama some weeks ago. Okay. Interesting but helpful gal Rain Song. I liked her more than Fate. Inza is fair competition, of course. Why isn't she Dr. Fate as successor to her husband Kent Nelson? Who would have thought she's also Parasite's ex in the Superman Adventures comics? Yes, you're talking about Rain Song, aren't you? Yes. Feels a bit too serious to call her his ex because apparently they dated when they were children. And there was nothing serious and she didn't really know him, which was the sad thing in the story, wasn't it? Intriguingly, I actually enjoyed the magical Batman episodes like Avatar more than The Hand of Fate. Still not the strongest DCAU tales, but there's something about Toth Capera and Clarion that makes me remember them better than Discount Cthulhu Carkle. 30 minutes and 21 seconds. Phrase question. Many apologies. I've seen better magicians out there across the known and unknown omniverse. 31 minutes and 38 seconds. More of the story before and even after the story ends brings into mind Francis Hodgson Burnett's writings, though I can argue A Little Princess concludes better than The Secret Garden and Little Lord Fauntleroy. 32 minutes and 45 seconds. Question. Depends on omniversal logic. Like it or not, Destiny can be permanently written in stone, or in store, as seen with happens on Star Wars, preferably in Legends. Destiny can also be defied, as seen with the first two Terminator films and the Resistance video game, as Luke notes. Destiny can be done with a bit of both, as seen with how the Middle-earthers and Narnians beat back the darkness no matter the cost and effort. 33 minutes and 50 seconds. Question. No, I don't criffing know how to write about Dr. Fate. I want to see Puella Magi archetypes nearly kill Superman instead. How many times should I repeat myself? Question. For that, I have no Justice League Dark roster suggestions. My socks are white. Same suggestions as Luke, Rain Song, and her Wiccans. Okay, so that was 36 minutes and 33 seconds, 37 minutes and 29 seconds. Question. Zatanna. Magical girl, good witches make me feel at ease more than male sorcerers and wizards. 38 minutes and 30 seconds. Question. No action figure set idea. This episode ain't that impressive to deserve it. By the way, after mentioning Shrek 2 in the last Totally Schway, another movie that is peaking my eyes would be Nacho Libre, a better, more relevant spiritual predecessor, to a Minecraft movie, and surprisingly a very good Christian movie when compared to the preachy, prejudiced ones officially funded by actual churches. Sad it's at 5.9 on IMDb though, but hey, at least it's not the 5.6 for a Minecraft movie. So the next little bit of Big Mikey P's comment, I'm not reading, I'm afraid, because you've done it again, Big Mikey P. Now, we've told you. You cannot make disparaging remarks about an entire nation or an entire race of people, or an ethnicity, I should say, because really there is only one race, the human race, because you don't like how their government has acted or acts or has acted in the past. You just can't do that. That is what we call hate speech, okay? And it's not cool to come into our comments and just be saying crappy things about people from whatever country it is you decided you don't like without anything to back it up, frankly. I know you've hinted in the past about having an unpleasant experience in the past with communism, and you know what, you're entitled to your opinion, but you don't get to tarnish everyone with the same brush, all right? So you need to cut that out. And also, by the way, in the next paragraph after the hate speech, you say you're on the side of the renegade channel member who stole some of my videos, my pre-release videos. Frankly, that is a very shitty thing to say, almost as bad as the hate speech. I shouldn't joke, but it is a very terrible thing to say, considering that, you know, that's a perk for paying channel members, that they get early access to videos. Everyone else will get access to them within a couple of weeks. Now, you might be referring to some of those earlier videos that will remain members only, because they are not video essays. They're not the things that people come to watch. And actually, my members generally don't subscribe to watch stuff like that. Or I should say, they don't join to watch stuff like that. Those videos have got views in the double digits, versus the video essays. As soon as I put them out, you know, a couple of hundred people will watch them within 24 hours of them going live for members. And really, that's basically the end of your comment, isn't it? I suppose the last thing you say is 55 minutes and 52 seconds for that question. Make sure the coffee ain't always dark as night and sweet as sin. Shall await the Rogues Gallery book, Totally Schway, guys and gals. Yeah, okay. Well, on that unpleasantness, hopefully we can draw a line through this and move on. You know, I'm not joking around when I say that we are a welcoming place for many different types of people, and you don't always have to agree with us, but we draw a line under, like, besmirching or showing hatred or disdain for entire groups of people from different countries, because, you know, treating people, like a whole nation of people, like they're like some conglomerated hive mind and not individuals with their own hopes and dreams and ambitions and tastes, is just deeply insulting. And I'm sorry to kind of end the comment section here on a bit of a dour note, but it needs to be said again. If you have this kind of mindset, if you have that kind of view about your fellow human beings, then this is not the place for you, okay? It just simply isn't. I'm not saying I'm going to ban you. I'm not saying you're going to get kicked out forever, but we don't want to hear it. You can have your opinions. Everyone is entitled to their own personal opinions, but we're not going to share them. Anything that we find particularly disdainful, we're not going to read out and promote. Not at all. So, hopefully that's clear and that there are no further issues. On that note, it's time for me to roll over and die, because this flu is coming back with a vengeance. I have to pause every couple of minutes so I can have a big old cough and blow my nose, which is gross and disgusting. Hopefully, by the time of the next episode, both Mary and I will be back to full strength. The next episode of the Totally Schway podcast, as Big Mikey P alluded to, is going to be about my Rogues Gallery book, which is coming out very soon. And then the next episode of Totally Schway Flipside will be your comments on the episode of Totally Schway. So thanks for joining us today, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your week. I don't even know what day of the week it is anymore. I'm so ill. All right, well, thanks for joining us anyway. Take care. Bye.